And we are back with answers to more of your business analysis questions. I'm Yulia, author of the book, Business Analyst, a Profession and a Mindset. And today I'm going to tackle another frequently asked business analysis question. And that question is, help, what do I do if I don't get enough information from stakeholders, or I don't get sufficient information from stakeholders? How can I do my requirements analysis, and how can I help business to finalize requirements? Now, this question is valid, and as I spoke about in previous videos already, you cannot expect stakeholders to give you all the information. They're human. It's just not possible. They'll forget things, or they may not know everything, or they may be too busy, or they don't know that it's relevant, and for many other reasons. So even though you do receive a lot of information through interviewing stakeholders and asking them questions and talking to them in those discovery workshops and requirements meetings, you need other sources of information. And that is your responsibility as a business analyst to seek that information. So if you ever heard the term due diligence, which is often applied to when one company wants to purchase another company and needs to do its due diligence to determine whether this is a good purchase. Now, due diligence applies to business analysis as well. When you are starting analysis on a new project, you as a business analyst, you have to do due diligence. What does it mean? You have to collect relevant information, the background that you need to do your job. So that may include company background, information about the company you're working with. It may be project background, some history, feasibility analysis, or what happened to make this project reach to this point. It can also be the background of the actual business problem. So that means that you might have to look into company's intranet or its website, or read some white papers or even news items. You may need to study regulatory documentation and so on. So that is the background, and often what you need to do is you need to do this due diligence even before you meet with your stakeholders. So if you have even a couple of days, say between you get assigned to this new project and before your first meetings and when things get busy, you need to use that time to start doing your due diligence with whatever information you can get a hold of. I talked about it more in my other video called Day 1 as a Business Analyst. Go and check it out. I'll provide you with a link. Now, so that's one perspective. There's more to it, of course, and think about different situations. When do you feel you need more information than what stakeholders are giving you? Of course, one of the main reasons is stakeholders are too busy, they don't have enough time for meetings, they're always running someplace else, they don't respond to your emails. Now, I also have another video where I address that more in depth when talking about strategies to engage with busy stakeholders. So check out that video. Let's take it a little bit further though. So your stakeholders are busy, or you don't get the right person in your meetings, you get someone else who may not know as much, or you have stakeholders that disagree and you're not sure who is right and you're not sure who to listen to. Sometimes your stakeholders tell you a lot, give you a lot of information, but you feel that they're just focusing on the happy parts of how things normally happen, and they don't necessarily think more about exceptions and what if scenarios. So there is many situations where you, especially with experience, you will feel that you don't get everything you need, or you just know that there is something else there. That's part of how you will discover that you need to do other things. The other part is you may not know that you're missing information until later, and that's where I'm saying do your due diligence, even if you think you're gonna get the same from stakeholders. One example is legislative and regulatory requirements. Yes, you can rely on your stakeholders to kind of retranslate those regulatory requirements to you. However, there's nothing preventing you as a business analyst from actually going and reading that piece of legislation or reading those regulations yourself, because that's your primary source of requirements, literally. And as you read that regulatory documentation, you, with your analytical mind, with your BE mindset, you may discover some fine points and nuances that stakeholders may have missed. And you may ask them a question, what if, or how do you handle that? Or how do you interpret this particular regulatory requirement? Or do we have something in place to address this? You may be able to actually bring up those exceptional scenarios. So don't be shy to actually ask for the documents, for regulatory and legislative documents from which requirements must be derived. You don't have to go through your business stakeholders as translators. Okay. Another situation where you may not get all of the information from your stakeholders is your stakeholders may be a little bit remote from the actual, operations process. Sometimes people get assigned to work on projects and they're taken off their operational duties, which on one hand is good because it gives that person more time to work on projects. On another hand, it may just take them a little bit too far away from what is actually happening. So things like immersion or job shadowing can be immensely helpful. I have a video on that as well, by the way, check it out. What may be helpful is to read documentation such as standard operating procedures or training materials. Those are usually written for new employees and they'll list what needs to be done in very much detail. And it may give you additional information that you didn't get through interviewing. So as part of your due diligence, definitely if you can get your hands on training materials, standard operating procedures, regulatory documentations, etc., use it. The other powerful tool you have at your disposal as a business analyst is data, and using data analysis to confirm, to validate your analysis, and to fill in the gaps. So if your stakeholders disagree, or if they have different opinion of how something is handled or should be handled, sometimes doing a bit of data queries can help you discover what actually happens, or discover a couple of scenarios where you need clarification of the rules, or you may find examples that either prove or disprove what stakeholders are telling you. Don't be afraid to use data analysis and to query data. Check out my video about why business analysts shouldn't be afraid of SQL. You can either learn to do it yourself, or you can always ask for help. So these other sources of information that you have at your disposal are no less important than interviewing stakeholders directly. And they are doing your due diligence and analyzing documents and artifacts, immersion and job shadowing, where you go and look at how things are done, and data analysis. So those three are very powerful weapons for you as a business analyst. Use them. I provided you with a lot of additional resources here in the comments. We also talk about how to apply this in our mentorship circle frequently. Check out that information. Join us if you would like to be part of this live group mentorship environment. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.